Hello again, everybody. It is the second semifinal. It is another best of 5, and it is a PvP. In the bottom left is the red Protoss. It's Hurricane. In the top right is the blue Protoss. He's Root herO. Thank you very much to Elite Clown for the Twitch Prime sub. New sub. Keep up the great work. You guys have a very professional stream. Ha! I guess you're the only one that ever said that. But thank you for the sub. Whoops, I die easy. That's all that. Apollo just jumped in my lap, so observing's gonna be wonky. Yeah, PvP. Hurricane already beat Patience, which I kind of went over in the last series. Might be a bit of a surprise to some people, but to me, it's just kind of like, yeah, alright. Like, Patience is a really good player. I do believe that, but I also believe that in our tournaments at the very least, and honestly, not even just our tournaments. Like, in most tournaments, it's kind of just still he's middling around the, like, good but not great getting to every GSL finals, you know what I mean? So when he loses, it's kind of just like, okay, yeah, alright. Maybe if he was on top of a swarm, he would have won, but okay. And Hurricane has just been doing really well lately. Hurricane is so much more of a question mark, I suppose, than, well, herO for sure, but also Patience's PvP, because Hurricane still is, like, kind of, I think, in a lot of people's minds, that guy that for the longest time just kind of appears in the weeklies and never really gets to the finals or the monthly finals. So to see him here, having just beat Patience, already in the money, might have a shot beating herO, could be a surprise to a lot of people. But PvP is where he had his best results, and even besides that, he's had some very good PvZs and PvCs as well. So I'm pretty hyped about watching him develop on the next few months. But herO is herO, and herO is a boss and also very aggressive, so it's always fun to watch him. We got an early Twilight Council from herO, an early Stargate from Hurricane, no one going for Nexus, despite it being Cactus Valley cross spawn. They finally scout where each other are. They're going to be able to see the units that are popping out here, so this probe sees Adepts. This probe barely didn't see the Mothership Core. That's kind of interesting. Might be worth chasing this probe. If you have nothing else to do, I suppose, with the Adept, then it is worth. And the Adepts don't look like they're in such a hurry to go across the map. But I say that because you scout the lack of a Nexus, you have your own lack of a Nexus, and if that does end up putting a pylon down, like you're planning on doing, right? Like, then it could be a problem later on. And bits continuing to pour in. I feel like Rifkin should stop donating bits to his own channel. Thank you to Clovers7 for the Twitch Prime sub. Appreciating the bit of a sub stream we got going on here this morning. But yeah, that proxy pylon is for a Dark Shrine. Hurricane still has no idea about this, and to, you know, Hurricane's credit, I guess herO has no idea what he's doing, but this Phoenix opener is not nearly as deadly as DTs are. Now, Stalker finds the pylon, and you're just kind of instantly just like, that's suspicious, but I would say more often it has to do with a gateway push than it has to do with the Dark Shrine. So, you know, this is actually still quite worrying that Hurricane will not be prepared, but oh, looks like he knows. Just kidding. He either knows or this was already part of his plan, but either way, it's a good thing he's going to robo, as the Oracle isn't quite dependent enough. Detection. It only hits one of the DTs, the other one starts, you know, killing a bunch of probes, and it's still no Gusta for you. This probe gets taken care of, but only have to place it on a second proxy pylon. DTs are being warped in, but they are seen. 3 of them. 1 Oracle already on the way. That's going to be able to pop Revelation again on at least 1. Now, herO, having seen the Phoenix, should be very careful about splitting them up. But the bad news for herO is that there's still an Observer. So the most he can really hope for is just finding units out of position. Which, don't get me wrong, is very possible, but it's very risky as well thing to bet on. Now, Stalkers can't hold very long. DTs have amazing damage, but unfortunately, they were all types of grouped up. Every single one gets revealed. There's an Observer just in case as well. 2 probes go down, and that is it, and he's going to run away with the DTs. A much better option, but unfortunately being revealed like they are, the Phoenixes could maybe just pick off 1, leaving only 1 more available. Nexus is done for both parties around the same time, especially because Hurricane had to wait to, you know, put his probes on there. So maybe the Dark Shrine opener failing isn't as devastating as it looked. I mean, they both have these 1 base openers after all. But it puts everyone in a little bit of a wonky position. hero's going to get much faster Blink because his Twilight Council is done so much faster, but Hurricane's going to get faster Immortals. Ew, whoopsie. Which, you know, deal effectively with Blink Stalkers after all, and are a unit you're going to grow in number a little bit. Anyways, so it is kind of just one or the other. They both will eventually reach the same place. I don't think anyone's going to get leads by being aggressive after this. Hurricane does go for a very fast forge. It's interesting. Phoenixes, I guess I kind of glossed over them because it was much more important about the Oracle and the Observer, but the Phoenixes are available to get the little bits of damage over time. If they get 10 probes over 2 minutes, that's already a pretty effective opener for what you did, and it's already let Hurricane be up about 5 workers. So, not bad at all. I said that the Blink Stalker attack wouldn't be able to do much, or further aggression wouldn't be able to do much. But maybe I was wrong. That proxy pylon is awfully close for having Phoenixes scouting and already killing 2 other proxy pylons. So I didn't expect them to be warped in so quickly, but it's already 2 Immortals. Third one's already halfway done. Hurricane realizes, like, oh, you are going to be dedicating to this? Alright, so he sits on a second pylon, and definitely wanted that sooner, as blinking on top of the Immortals is the way to go. A couple of Zealots are warped in, though, and that's a very smart move. If they can get the hits, which they are guaranteed to do if you blink on top of them, and it's pretty nice. But this Mothership Core is full up on energy, so now the 2 pylons are done. Even if he blinks on top of this Immortal again, he would still take a lot of damage from that. Probes just being lifted to buy, like, to do damage, quote unquote, I suppose. Okay, there's the second Phoenix killing now. And this Oracle could go in for a lot more kills. But second Immortal does join the party. Third one now. About halfway done. Adept looking for that high ground vision finds it, but the Immortals can respond. I think this one has its barrier back up, so while one goes down, the other one still alive, and one more about to pop. And the Stalker attacks, well, they aren't quite working yet. If herO had a more of a follow-up back at home, I wouldn't really mind, you know? He's still containing and doing a little bit of damage here and there, but he's not. He's really quite all-inning. He's starting to build a couple probes here and there, but he's been down probes from the almost the very beginning, and still has not caught up. Man, just a supply block Hurricane. It might have a bit of annoyance, but his Immortal was already on the way, and with 3 Immortals, I don't know. This is it's gotta be one of the hero's last attacks, but a lot of Adepts here is gonna complicate things. He gets right on top of that Immortal. Blink did finish for Hurricane, which gives him some more micro, and the Immortal pops out. There we go, 2 Immortals now. No focus and overcharge, the Motion Core might just die, but there's even a cannon in here for the DTs, but also in case that gets any amounts of shots whatsoever, it's very useful. Blink forward to chase down, do a bit more damage. Hurricane still just leaving his Phoenixes. I guess the Oracle did die after building a Stasis Trap, but the Phoenixes, even lifting again 1 probe at a time, might be totally worthwhile. herO has finally caught up in the economy, but of course, one thing he'll be missing out on if the game does continue will be a Forge, so he'll probably fall behind on upgrades, but also Immortal count actually is just going to tap out after those Adepts couldn't do anything, so Hurricane takes game number 1. Game number 2, in the bottom right is the blue Protoss. He is Root herO. In the bottom left is the red Protoss. It is Hurricane. That was a bit wonky, whatever. Looks like we had a resub. Rebel Dragon 86 resub for 10 months in a row. Tell Rift to get better and get back to work. The boss said so. If the boss is yourself and you tell yourself to get back to work, are you being mean or are you being supportive? Yeah, it would be nice if you got better eventually, because not only do we have a cast every day this week, but this weekend we are covering a lot of the Take TV Penthouse Party, and that is that's very long days, and it'd be nice to have a, you know, co-caster for that. Not that solo casting a long marathon cast isn't fun sometimes, but 3 days of that and I think I would die. We are casting it. I think it starts on my birthday, if I'm not mistaken. Today's Wednesday. Yeah, I think it starts on Friday. And that is my birthday, so yay! I'm quite excited. I didn't get to do a birthday stream last year, and the year before that, I think it was a very small one. So, we'll see how it goes. One base openers, of course, for both players. So there's that chance for either one to go for the gateway expand. Like, single gateway expand, to be clear. But I think for herO, it's a little bit risky against herO, as you know he's going to be dangerously aggressive. And, you know, he's totally willing to proxy and all that jazz. And herO might be the one that kind of mix things up and do it and just predict that herO won't be as aggressive. But herO can be aggressive. I mean, I don't think you can be good at PvP, rather, and not have the potential proxy pylon builds, right? It's kind of like playing TVT without having any one-base builds. Everyone has at least one, even if it's not their forte. Adepts are going to shade to each other, basically. herO got the first shots, but he's trying to micro. I guess what's funny is he got the first shots on both adepts, so the micro didn't actually go in his favor as much as it looked. But they're going to shade out and away, and they want further scouting. This one goes into more adepts, unfortunately, while this one takes its time, so it's already getting a bit of shield, and it's only up against a stalker, so the shade is very, very careful. Mothership Core goes to the main base and is looking for maybe 2 probe kills. It's going to have to recall immediately after that, and it was a bit of a dangerous thing to do. That's exactly what it gets, 2 probe kills. Now, I don't think the Adept or the Probe of herO was able to scout the Stargate. It was not. But it did scout, I guess, the timing on the Nexus, and while they both have very late Nexus, or not very late, but late Nexus, it's always kind of, I think, hard to tell if it's, like, really because they got something before it, or if it was just so much happening, you know, with the Stalkers and the Adepts. Very cool little SimCity here. I really appreciate, like, I feel this is tying on really well with the Brood War announcement and getting back into Brood War and stuff, but SimCity really hasn't been as important. Like, sometimes it is a difference of life and death, don't get me wrong, you know, when it comes to engagements, but these cool little tricks of blocking the Adepts or allowing, like, 1 probe space worth so you can actually escape if a water mine drop comes in, like, that type of very, very, very small stuff is just, I feel like I'm seeing more and more of it. The Oracle almost dies immediately, so that was not too useful. But it is alive. It'll come back again later. herO has a faster Nexus, but not by too much. Just a little bit. herO with a faster Blink. herO with a faster Robo, so a reverse of last game. herO has a Proxy Pylon, maybe, set for the future. There it goes. He could even put a Gateway down if he wanted to be aggressive. I mean, he's going to have that Blink, so it really, really is the reverse of that last game scenario without the Dark Shrine thing that happened. Adept's taken out. Oracle is still threatening, so this is what kind of sucks for herO, is that either he has to leave units at home and not warp in offensively, or he can't probe his natural, because the Mothership Core can only stay in one location at a time, right? Thank you to Juliet for 4151, 7 months, yay. Thanks for the resub. Stalkers do make their way across the map. They don't have Blink yet, and that Proxy Pylon hasn't been used yet either, but they were so surprising. Oh, no. And that Mothership Core was already a bit weak from the earlier attack that it does go down. Now, it's instantly rebuilt, but that one I think had 3 photon overchargers and then just used 1. So this one is only going to have the 1, obviously. So that was a nice, nice pick-off. And it's just 100 gas taken out of herO's pocket. That could be a Sentry. That could be 2 Stalkers. That's... Observer does see the Stalkers kind of roaming around here, and it did see the Pylon. It didn't. It just saw a Stalker come from that direction, though, so herO might be a little suspicious. Immortal is probably going to be enough. It's a very, very low number of Stalkers, plus a Guardian Shield, plus Force Fields. Like, it's going to be a lot of poking and prodding, not a lot of dedicating, I think, for herO, who is on his way to a Robo, still making probes, although he is down by 3 or 4. Taking whatever he can and still not losing Stalkers. Adepts now being warped in, either shade to the main or soak up a bit of the shots of the Immortals. We'll see. herO is very late to his Twilight Council in the same way that herO's pretty late to his Robo. Barrier is popped and now focus firing. Adepts get into that main base, going to retreat with the Stalkers. Adepts in the main base just met with other Adepts, however, so not much opportunity to do anything. Mothership Core is just about with another overcharge. Yep, already. And more gateways are on the way. But this is kind of what, like, I thought maybe herO could do last game, but then he kept on dedicating to the attack. And, you know, he'd already dedicated to the Dark Shrine build, so it was questionable anyways. But the point is, like, kind of containing and poking and prodding, but then macroing on the back, right? Like, getting other gateways, getting a forge, getting a warp prism for further harassment, and getting the decent amount of probes that you would want on 2 bases, which they both have now. But that is a lot of gateways, and that is a Dark Shrine, so might have been a different order of things, but herO roughly with the same tools that herO had. herO with 3 Immortals is feeling quite good about moving out here, and he should. I mean, the worst thing that could happen, I think, is losing his sentries, which would be a nice snipe, for sure. But, worth, you know, dealing with that proxy pylon and putting his 3rd base down. I'm not ignoring any portrait on purpose, I just don't really look at the... I mean, it's kind of small on my preview screen, you know? Like, I only have OBS up partially, because I gotta fit things on my second monitor. So I really don't know what it says. Oh, okay, I see what it says. It looked a lot like ZombieGov likes bits, which I was like, oh yeah, sure, why not? But I see what it says now. It's great, Rifkin, good job. DTs are warped in somewhere. Oh, there's the warp prism. 1 dropped off. Interesting. And then 1 go to the main. I guess if there's an observer in the main, then you get the kills over here, and vice versa. You know, you get the kills in the main, so... Didn't really work out either way, however. Observer and cannon in the main base, and this other DT just went home. What was your purpose in life, Dark Templar? Why were you even dropped off there? I don't know. That's not powered. Okay, well... there are 2 observers now, so 1 with the army and 1 wherever the DTs might come in, and that DT harassment was not too effective at all. This observer had scouted the Dark Shrine, I guess, preemptively, and it just was not going to work out well. Immortals finally on the way for herO, but that is what he's really late to in this game. 4 Immortals to 1. Second one just popped out, I believe. Charge, they're already on the way, as well as Templar Archives. I mean, if herO had advanced his tech to Robotics Bay, he obviously would have gotten there a lot sooner, so that is something that he... herO might have already predicted and is like transitioning out of something besides disruptors, or he might just figure this is the way that it's the fastest way to get somewhere. As if he had gone for disruptors, then he also might have been killed before he got to a good enough count. Zealots he can make a lot of course. Disruptors, that's a long time making. 3rd base finally finishing up. This already done and saturated, but they're at even worker counts. herO has the slightest bit of an army lead and is about to have an upgrade lead. There we go. Now has +2 to +1. I don't think herO should be committing to an attack here. He does have charge, but he doesn't really have a lot of zealots to use that charge. Both have warp prisms to micro as well, and Archons, I guess that is in favor of herO. Is that really enough? Couple more charge that finally warped in. Potent Turbocharge can only help out so much versus Immortals, and there aren't more pylons despite there being so much energy on that Mothership core. A DT is actually running in here to get some damage done, and it's getting a lot of damage done. The Observer of herO is the one that lived, not the Observer of herO, and that DT might just be the difference of life and death. 2 Immortals, 1 Immortal left over, but it's taking out most of herO's Stalkers. Finally, the Warp Prism goes down, but the DTs were not taken care of, and I couldn't even... I saw them attacking... and yet I couldn't even hear their swipes. I'm guessing herO never realized what was going on until he was really down on the last couple of units, and that is devastating. I think without those DTs, herO barely wins that fight and then maybe barely wins the game. That was a nice little move there from herO to realize he had won the quote-unquote Observer Wars. There is an Observer again, however, for herO, so he's got to be careful about using them. The CT is being thwarted by a single cannon, and herO is, in fact, on his way to Robotics Bay and Double Robo for Disruptors, so it is going to be 2 different compositions. We'll see which one really wins out. Charge lots, if they're bulked up, die to Disruptors, but if they get on top of the Disruptors, they're sniping them and leaving the rest of their army capable of destroying heroes, so it's going to be interesting. herO also will be stuck at a very low count of disruptors to begin with as well, right? So he's got to be pretty wary of like this specific time where he's still getting a second robo and he still is only at 1 or 2 disruptors. 4th base is on the way for herO, however. He's still continuing his macro. 4th base should be on the way eventually for herO, but he might be kind of smelling blood in the water. He is up almost 20 army supply. He's evened up the upgrades, although herO is already halfway to his +3. And a War Prism is already out again. That is a lot of Photon Overcharge, though. A lot of energy. Disruptor count is growing, and if Hurricane wants to end the game right here, right now, he might have to go in very, very soon. There's even +3 finishing up, so another timer for Hurricane to worry about. But he's going to go for the fight. He doesn't really have that much of an army supply lead anymore, and that'll definitely be made up with defender's advantage, so I don't think this is going to be his opportunity to attack. But he's not expanding. He is really all-inning, and I'm just not sure it's going to work. I mean, the charge lots are scary against the amount of Blink Stalkers that herO has, sure. But the War Prism was sniped, and herO is using his micro ability to its fullest potential. Hurricane finally starts his own transfer over into Disruptors, but it is late. Might have been better to go for a double Stargate, but okay, he does kill the Disruptors. No, that one does get a shot off. Another one available in the back lines as well. 2 Immortals, 3 Archons, nothing else but Stalkers beyond that. Observers are dead for herO, so once again, the herO DT, the Hurricane's herO DT, oh, that's confusing, comes in here. The other Observer was sniped as well, and it's still going to town, but damn, this is a much different situation. This time, the DT wasn't the difference between a couple of units. It was really the only unit Hurricane had after the rest of his army died, and that did not go so well at all. This 4th base has been up. It's now getting its probes transferred to, and herO has a 30 supply lead, an upgrade lead, and a tech lead. He has Disruptors, whereas Hurricane's only just trying to get them now, and his charge lots didn't seem... I don't want to say they weren't worth the investment, because he did kind of, you know, not win, but evened out that last battle. The one before the last one, but it's hard to say, really. Maybe he would have been better off without him. Going right into the Disruptor or something like that. It looks like he might be able to hold on, as this is only the Blink Stalker force of Hurricane, or of herO, but herO's army is coming forward here. He's got Guardian Shield, he's got Force Fields, he's got 2 Disruptors. Hurricane will have 3 Disruptors? Yeah, he'll have 3 Disruptors and an Immortal, but not supply. Well, this is looking like game over for Hurricane. Which is quite weird. He had that army supply advantage for 1 second. Oh, lordy. That would have been bad if there wasn't Blink available. Only 3 Disruptors, though, and 2 of them have already used their shot. That's the last one for some time, and they really only managed to get a couple of Stalkers. Zealots are just getting obliterated. They're up against 3-1 Stalkers with not even +3 quite done. Hurricane, desperate here. Gets the War Prism that usually helps out a ton. Has to split, however, versus the Disruptor, and this is his 3rd base, not his 4th. If he loses this, he has no economy. Time Warp's even being used. That is kind of a funny thing. Maybe effective with the Disruptors, but they're already walked out of it. Blink was on cooldown, however, so a nice, nasty shot there. Oh, I thought it was going to get the Disruptors. If that had, maybe this game doesn't quite even out, but maybe it's something he can actually continue on with. But you know what? That 3rd base didn't die. 4th base might be able to live, but a good shot from herO just took out a lot of Hurricane's army. And while herO is retreating right now, he is still retreating. He still has an advantage. Oh god, I thought he was gonna miss that Blink. He has a 40 army supply advantage, and he's still up in probes. This is an Observer, not even a DT. Hurricane needs a couple more really great Disruptor shots. He was lucky with one of them. The rest weren't too great. But his 4th base is finally up and running. He's transferring all the probes that, of course, are mined out of the main base. But he missed this attack. The only Observer he has on the other side of the map. Depowers the Forge, but I think he was looking more for the depower on the Robo. Just straight up kills it. And herO's trying to, or Hurricane's trying to respond, but I think it's too late. Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! I thought Hurricane Disruptor was gonna die for sure. Oh shit, well all of the Disruptors of herO dies. Immortal goes down, Stalkers go down, has to blink out. He did grab a Robo and still has an army supply advantage, but holy shit, I thought I didn't even bother zooming in or anything because I thought I was gonna die. That does change a lot of things. I think herO was maybe getting a little overzealous about killing Hurricane. I say a little because I think he just missed like maybe 1 round or maybe 2 of disruptors, but he has another base. He's attacking over here. With stalkers, funnily enough, so a zealot weapon probably would be fine. This shouldn't do a whole lot. Maybe not the best use of his stalkers. Oh, lordy. Why you gotta play with my feelings like that? That is not hurricanes. What the fuck? Can you not? Can you not? Oh my god. Are you real? Okay, so Disruptor Wars going again to the north. What the flip is happening? Charge on the way for herO, as well as continuing his upgrades. I mean, do you really need armor upgrades? It's a lot more about the disruptor shots. It's questionable, but herO has the bank to have that question, I suppose. Disruptor was saved, and the Warp Prism, of course, didn't have anything to attack it anyway, so it has a massive warp in here. Disruptor pops out from Hurricane, though. He's going to be looking for the strike. He gets it! And the Warp Prism has to skedaddle because the Stalkers are still alive of Hurricane, and they're looking for it. Over here on the top side, more Disruptor Wars. 3 Disruptors to 2. 2 Immortals to no Immortals. herO has to be a little careful about how he does this. He's finally getting charged, however, and he is targeting down the Disruptors. Nicely done. Hurricane finally on his way to a 5th base. Still down like 14 probes. I can't believe Hurricane has lasted this long. I really thought he was a goner, but man, killing that good chunk of units in the top position and then getting all those Disruptors in his main base has really allowed him to stay in this game. Only down 10 army supply, only down 10 probes. I mean, these are things that seriously Disruptors or a good fight with like Immortals could be the difference of. I still don't know really what to make of the armor upgrades being so in favor of herO, as it does seem to be more about would the Disruptors get the hits or not. So it's hard to say. Zealots are saved for another day. Disruptors get a pretty good strike right there. Oh my god, there's so many Disruptors. Oh, they're coming every which way. The Hurricane managed to take out one of herO's, but herO's takes out all of the important units of Hurricane, Disruptors, Immortals, and even a couple of Archons. Warp-in denied, but Hurricane left with only a few units over here, is also dealing with the Zealots that charged back when his retreated. He did manage to kill 13 workers and brings himself in the tiniest little bit of a probe lead, but he lost a lot of important units. It's 5 Disruptors to 2, 20 Stalkers to 6, and Hurricane only with a handful of Zealots to be the difference. Oh my god. Gets a handful of Stalkers, but will lose the Disruptor. Is that really worth it? He doesn't lose it. Wow. The Zealot's just a little bit too much for the Stalkers to want to tango with. DTs once again coming in. herO has his own DTs and his Warp Prism is still alive, so that could come into effect later. Almost fixes the trajectory, but only gets a Stalker. Observer dies. I think that was a case of the F2s from Hurricane. Pretty sure anyways. Oh, this is going to be some really good DT harassment. Cannons at every other base but that 5th. Stalkers come back in, Zealots being warped in, DT being warped in. He did just kill Hurricane's Observer after all, and Hurricane does not have any more Observers. He's gonna be losing his 5th base. herO kind of lost his 5th base in a way by losing the probes. Cannon might go down, to be honest. Oh, that was so close. That would have lost the detection. A DT counter warp in, however, is cleaning this up. No, an Observer comes in here. 5th base still alive. Disruptors on the front lines, very dangerous looking. herO once again in a position to just almost close out this game. Is going to get the 5th base. Is going to get another Disruptor was his. Everything's chaos in the main as his DT was cleaned up. Hurricane can't deal with this. He stopped his Immortal production. This Nexus looks like it's going to live. No, the units are coming back here, but there's no Observer, so more probes are going down. Hurricane with only the slightest bit of a lead in that department, however, might not be important enough. Gets 2 DTs, but still 2 more. He's looking, he's guessing, he's wondering. Doesn't get them. And the Stalker army is going to that top right base. Of Hurricanes, rather. I think this is it. This is it. GG. Oh, boy. How did Hurricane stay alive for so long? There's no cat there this time. It was awkward. Damn. Poof. I need a break after that one. Going to game number 3. It's all tied up 1-1. See you in a few. Welcome back. It is game number 3. It's all tied up in the bottom right on Belshir. Is the blue Protoss route herO. In top left is the red Protoss. He's Hurricane. Got a request to make the bit boss bigger so you can see what the profile says, right? I don't want it to be too obnoxious. So, hard to call. Thank you for the continued bit wars. I think I managed not to miss any resubs during that game, so feels good, man. That was a crazy game, though. Hurricane, very, very good at the defense, I suppose. Getting some lucky strikes with the disruptors, but herO, maybe more so, just a little overeager at points to end the game. He had super leads at some points and just regular leads at others. And was only ever down twice, I want to say. Once when the charge load attack was coming in, and then maybe another time that I'm forgetting. But the point is, herO did have that game for most of it, and yet it still took forever to finalize it. Just goes to show, Hurricane's a really good up-and-comer, especially in this matchup. Alright, probe of herO does just scout, as he did go for, and I kind of mentioned this last game, so now I'm going to feel super smart and special. If someone was going to go for the gateway expand, I figured it would have been herO, because Hurricane's less likely to do the cheesy, the ultimate proxies, ultimate cheeses, the ultimate chrono on the gateway run at you type deals. And he was right. I mean, it's Stalkers. I mean, Warp Gate's being chrono, but it's Stalkers right here, and herO doesn't have to really worry about getting too harassed. Now, if Hurricane throws in a proxy pylon and continues warping in Stalkers, even slowly, then it can be problematic, but only time will tell if that's the case. We have a Stargate on the way for Hurricane, actually. And unfortunately, by the time the Oracle pops out for this, if everything goes swimmingly, if everything goes perfectly for herO, he would have pylons covering his main and pylons covering his natural, and units aplenty to cover both as well, and that's just not going to be too much damage. But Hurricane's really got to hope it does maybe even like 6 or 7 probes worth of deaths. Otherwise, he'll just be straight up behind. Of course, his Nexus very, very late to herO's. Well, he is going to go for an expand. It's like there wasn't like a fake pylon or a fake probe down here. It's just a complete Nexus behind, and even a little bit then some. Twilight Council already away for herO, because of Twilight Council, not Robo. He didn't really get to see what was going beyond the Stalkers, and I'm not even sure he saw the Stalkers pop out. So he didn't see the Stargate, he didn't see a Twilight Council, he didn't see anything. If it was the case that Hurricane was going for like a 1-base Dark Shrine like herO did in the first game, maybe herO's making a huge mistake, but it's not the case. And Robo didn't really come down that late either, so I think he might have still had enough time to win out. herO's really going for, I think, what is a safe build if you have decent scouting and you really take into consideration what they can do to you, and he has. He's had his pylons placed around the map. He has 2 at the front just in case. He has Stalkers in the main because his pylons aren't here. This is one place his pylons really aren't. So the Stalkers have got to be here. But the probe just, or the Oracle just goes for the transferring probes. Those were going to be the freebies, no matter what, pretty much. Don't mind that, but he is still down 7 workers. It's really quite crazy watching the 1-gate expand versus the double gateway expand and see just how much it can make the difference. I mean, coming from a specialization more so in TVT, right? If someone one base opens versus 2 base open, it seems like it's almost always guaranteed with pro gamers at the very least that the 1-base opener will eventually even out, whether that means they went for a faster 3rd base or they did damage with their attack. I feel like in PvP, when I see this dynamic happen, one versus the other, it's not as much of a given that they're going to be able to make up the probe losses. But Hurricane with 2 Oracles now was starting to threaten it as he got into that main base, but the natural was protected by Overcharge. Goes back for the probes in the main. Again, all he really had to get was like 7 total, and that would have brought him back up to almost even, and that's basically what he got. He got 8, now down only 2 probes. Not too shabby with the Oracles, because they also lived, so that's, in fact, quite nice. But herO extended his lead maybe a little bit further by already going for a 3rd base. Maybe the probe losses aren't really going to make him cry at all. And his blink is much faster than Hurricane. Hurricane has nothing that you would really expect to see in a long game PvP. He has a Robo, but he hasn't started Immortals. He has a lot of Gateways, but he doesn't have any Twilight Council upgrades for them. So it really is just the ultimate anti-blink Stalker defense, Voiders and Immortals, and Photon Overcharge. But the problem is, for Hurricane, herO isn't going for an attack. herO is usually the guy you can expect to go for an attack and be aggressive and look for openings. But in this game, herO has been totally fine with getting his expansions and continuing to macro. And I'm quite worried, because I think, well, this army is great defensively. I don't really think it's great offensively. Like, it's technically counter-based, but it's just, you know, on the middle of the map against Photon Overcharge. It's not quite the same deal. And, you know, there's no War Prism and there's no Proxy Pylon either, so there really wouldn't be an opportunity for it to go across the map. Observer is sniped, but herO is finally being aggressive. He knew his third base got scouted by Oracles, and he might have been using that to his advantage, but he also stopped producing probes a while ago. They do cut just in preparation of the third base, you know, having to finish, but at some point or they do start up again. And herO was adding on bits and pieces of probes here and there. There we go. Photon Overcharge, missing the other one, so warps in a Stalker. They're crossing paths, though, so we have an army over here and an army over there. Probe sees there's still no third base, so herO can go directly to that natural. Where is the Mothership Core? She's in the main base, so the pylons, unfortunately, are already going to be destroyed by the time she responds to this. Hurricane's going to be down to one base. herO, he's getting his natural attacked as well soon enough. But Hurricane is definitely lost out in the start of this. The Mothership Core goes down. Not that there are too many pylons on the main base overcharge anyways, and all of them are basically Artosis pylons. I'm sorry, but they really are. There's an Artosis pylon for every single section of this base. This is absolutely terrible. He put so many on the front lines hoping to use them. It just didn't really work out that way. The natural base isn't going down. I guess it might eventually to the Mortals, but the main base has been sort of broken here. 3 Void Rays, a lot of Stalkers, Warp Prism to help elevate them and use some type of Blink Micro with that. Maybe this game is still just undecidable. I'm really not sure. herO's army is destroying the probes now, whereas herO, of course, could just produce from this base and save them. That might be a very important factor, who's left with a probe at the end of the day. Mothership Core, I mean, he tried to hide, but that wasn't really ever going to work out. There's Void Rays available after all. Probes are blocked from escaping. Both are now down to even-ish workers. herO losing more and more, however. He did manage to save one of them. Probes over here saved. C probes transferring every which way. And this is I don't even know. No one's producing anything. Just kidding. Nexus starts to be produced. But I was gonna go to the units tab to see what's up. This confuses me greatly. herO was at the bottom, and then Hurricane is at the top. Yeah, okay, so herO, a lot more Stalkers, 1 more Immortal, a couple more Sentries. Force Fields can never be undervalued. But, of course, up against 3 Void Rays and a Warp Prism that can micro. I feel like herO's army is better in this scenario because it doesn't lag behind each other and doesn't, you know, like if one Void Ray gets sniped, that's dramatically less power for Hurricane, whereas if one Stalker got sniped for herO, that's like really not the same effect. But that doesn't always end up being the case. Like if Hurricane's army is all together complementing each other, then maybe it is the better army. Especially if it has like the high ground. I do not know. Nexus for both players. They both managed to have 400 minerals plus, and they both managed to save a couple of probes. herO a little less, but Hurricane with a less stacked mineral line, as he chose herO's main to build his Nexus. So while he has 12 probes to mine with, they aren't going to be mining for very long. Is herO really going to try and break this? I'm not sure that he can. He's also not too sure, but it looks so tempting. Like, his army is quite big, but Hurricane has those Immortals, has those Void Rays. Specifically tries to pop the barriers of both Immortals. I think only got the one. If he pops both of them, then he might just be able to burn everything down. I really think that's what he's hoping for, but Hurricane also has the Warp Prism Micro. So there's just a lot of things that have to be sniped and prodded at before herO could really feel confident pushing in here. But he's judging, he's thinking, he's wondering. No upgrades, just the blink for herO. I guess since we're really coming down to, you know, bare bones army here, the probes also could have been pulled, so it's very It's, can't blame herO for backing off right there. It's very questionable. I guess herO a little concerned that that Oracle is still alive, or that a Void Ray will move around, or anything like that. So he does leave a couple of units back at his base. No one was able to no one managed to fit into Dark Shrine, which would have been very, very useful. Hurricane as an observer, sure, but what if Hurricane was the one with the Dark Shrine? Then that might have been game over for herO. herO also has buildings together on the map, but I think with how much they were able to get in terms of buildings and structures, yeah, I don't think the last structure going down is going to be the way this game is won. It's funny, though. 12 probes to 3 to begin with. herO already rebuilding his probes, however. I mean, sure, he didn't have as much of an income for a while, but he should have an income in general, whereas Hurricane is not. Hurricane is very quickly running out of minerals. He has 500, he has about 1,000 minerals left over. Gas is not so much a factor, I don't think, with 2,000 left over, but still. Could be, one day. If he, decided to go for, I don't know, Archons to break the force field so he could leave the contain, then that might be an issue. Reaching here, right? Cybernetics core is finally on the way for both players so they can build their mothership cores so their homes feel a little bit more defensible. And I don't know how this is gonna go. Hurricane might be thinking about Dark Shrine with this. But he also might be thinking more so to Stalkers, Blink, because that's definitely one thing he's missing. Or even... I was going to say Charge, but I don't know if he really wants to go for Charge. I don't think he's going to go... I think it's got to be either Blink or Dark Shrine. I think. But the problem is, even though, herO doesn't have an Observer now, I mean, first of all, you're going to want to prepare for the eventuality. Someone's going to try and get a Dark Shrine. But then also, he's been constantly scouting with Hallucinated Phoenix. They both have been. And there's, funnily enough, not going to be a lot of surprises in this game. They both really do know a lot of each other because they both managed to save either an Observer or Sentries. So they aren't running out of hallucinations anytime soon. This is clever. This is very clever. I really like this. I mean, it was dangerous because, again, with the Hallucinated Phoenix constantly running around, herO could have seen the Warp Prism move out, or he could notice right now, hey, where did that Warp Prism go? And this would not be a worthwhile move. But on the off chance this probe can build another Nexus, one that actually has minerals, then it could be his way back in. Belshire kind of one of the worst maps for this scenario, though, because there aren't really many bases to hide. And it looks like herO did notice the lack of a Warp Prism. He was looking for it. He was looking for extra buildings, too, in case he missed any. And he happens to find the Warp Prism. Now, he did miss... Wrong guy. He did miss the probe being dropped off and the Dark Shrine being built. And he might just think this Warp Prism was purely to try and attempt to harass this base. I mean, he brought Stalkers back so much earlier. That was certainly on his mind. But he might have been fooled by that idea. It's a different idea entirely. It's not even a Nexus that I was thinking of, because Hurricane is starting to bank a lot of minerals, but it is the Dark Shrine. He's also getting Blink, so it was for both, which is probably smart. But he has successfully depleted his minerals. Those are the only two things he's really going to be able to get. Hallucinated Phoenix dies, Dark Shrine finishes up, but herO has a Robo, and he already built an Observer. If herO had done something really stupid, build a Robo and then waited till the last second to build an Observer, oh my god, that could have done it. But it's not the case. And DTs are really expensive on minerals, so Hurricane, he's going to be mining gas for quite some time, needs more minerals for Dark Shrine, for Dark Templar. This is it. This is the only thing. 125 minerals apiece. Now, they could warp in, realize there's an Observer, and maybe still be able to leave. And if they get picked up in the Warp Prism, that is another Archon in Hurricane's arsenal. But herO has gotten to 22 probes on a fresh base. He's finally got production back up. Soon enough, his army will just simply be too good. Hurricane entirely dives in here, by the way, so he's going to lose the DTs. herO is not responding, though, because he is being attacked on the other side of the map. Hurricane tried to distract in one place and push down the other. But while herO might not be looking at his base right now, I think he did just win the war. So they did not go the way Hurricane wanted. And unfortunately, that's going to be it for Hurricane. GG, herO takes game number 2. A very wonky game number 2. I find it really funny that one of the main reasons herO ended up losing that was because he couldn't take a base that was healthy and something he could defend. That was truly special. Welcome back. We are into game number 4. In the top left, his map choice on his last life is Red Protoss herO. On the bottom right is the blue Protoss. It is Roots herO. Thank you, LT Pilot, for the 14-month resub. It was awesome watching you guys at Austin. Very cool. Didn't realize you were watching us behind us, or you just meant that we were at Austin and you were watching BaseTradeTV? Either one. We're gonna remind you guys that these players are already in the money, but they could be getting even more after such epic games. Matcherino, I think the codes still have not been used, so if you haven't already, go to Matcherino. Someone's gonna link it in chat and use code BTSL4 to add $1 free of charge, no strings attached, to the tournaments, and then if you're feeling generous, you can even add a little bit more. And all of it is guaranteed to go to the players. All of it. Quick check to see if I missed anyone else. Nopacom. Resub for 26 months. GG, nice base trade. Yeah, that was one of the wonky ones I've ever seen. Usually it really comes down to army versus economy, or army versus army because no one could build a nexus. To see both players rather calmly get to a nexus, yet the difference being one was in the old base and one was in a new base, like that doesn't happen too often. That was a pretty special one. But herO might be down 2-1. Don't be fooled. Every single game that he's lost has been really, really hard fought. Going from the base here we just saw to the just stamina that he had in game number 2. We're lasting about 8 minutes longer than he should have. It's been impressive. But he once again goes for the Stargate 1 base. Kind of forgot, but last game did not start off in his favor. He did a decent job trying to make up for it, but it really didn't start off that way. And if herO had just defended, it probably would have been an easy game for herO. It really was the choice of the base trade, or the forced choice, because I don't think anyone expected it, but still, that made it wonkier than it should have been. herO just straight up got a loss of build orders, really, and was unable to do enough damage to make up for it for a long time. But he brought it in close to the end, still lost. So Oracle on the way. herO specifically looking for the Adepts, catches them a couple of times. But because he's looking for that and not scouting with a probe, he did not see the lack of a Nexus or the Stargate in the main base. His probe, oh my god, I thought his probe was a space shack for a second. His probe is hiding though. Stalkers chasing these Adepts, Stalkers over here ready for these Adepts and units everywhere, but the point is, no unit in the main? Oh, that's Militia Core. Alright, so herO could have made a huge mistake by chasing these units like this, but instead, he's gonna be fine. Oh no, oh no, well, I mean, Oracle, maybe you should wait a second. Oracle, you should wait a second. You should wait a second. Oh, I think he rebuilt himself. Okay, so one overcharge wouldn't have been causing me to say, oh no. It was the fact that he used both for the 2 Adepts that I was wondering if the Oracle could do a lot of damage, and to be honest, it still is. So I guess it's like mission accomplished still. But, oh jeez. Oh jeez. 7 probes and lives. Pretty good. Good stuff. But I was scared. I thought maybe it wouldn't do anything after popping both overcharges. The second Oracle even comes in here. There's 4 Stalkers now. I don't think that's going to be worth sending the Oracle in, but maybe both at the same time? Questionable. herO does take an 8 probe lead from that, despite his Nexus being later, and that is pretty good. Pretty good. herO, if he had not taken any damage whatsoever, might have been planning for a proxy, but I think this would have changed his mind. Or he'll still do it. Alright then. Just move a little bit closer. So the thing is that he's gonna have Blink faster. Like, he was the one that went for a Twilight Council, herO went for a Stargate, so it's not wrong for him to apply that pressure. But so far, yeah, I think funnily enough, we have not seen the Blink Stalker pressure work out. First time we saw it was in Cactus Valley from herO. Didn't work after our Dark Shrine failed. Second time we saw it was from Hurricane on Newkirk, and while it looked like it worked, he did ultimately end up losing that game, so I wonder what this game will look like. Some of the army has Revelation on it. The Oracles could try and swoop in and pop the overcharge and then come back again later on after that. Or hope that herO is distracted. He blinks in on top of the sentries. He blinks kind of past the Photon overcharge. Right on top of that Immortal that popped out. Barrier instantly popped and it goes down. Photon overcharge was put on the main base pylon, but it needed to actually be in the natural. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Oracle's unable to do anything. The healthiest one died, in fact, leaving the very, very weak one to be all by its lonesome. And I think Hurricane is going to take the loss here. Blink stalking. Oh my god, I can't even blink back the stalkers to micro. I was trying to make a new verb. It didn't work out. And that's going to be it. GG. Blink stalkering his stalkers. That's where I was going with that. Me smirt. Point is, herO makes the stalker attack work. Very nicely done. That's going to send herO into the finals. So it's going to be herO versus Solar in a best-of-7 grand finals for the BTSL finals. Once again, use the code @Matcherino. These guys are guaranteed at least $250 for first place, $100 for second. But it'd be awesome if we get more. Gonna take a commercial break, and once the lobby is ready to go, I'll come back.